hearing a pour, your mind goes into a different place and kind of takes a step back from where it's been all day.
It's a combination of art and science.
That's what brewing is, that people find out there's enough variety that they find out what they like to do, and they key in on that, and that's their passion.
We wanted to make it focused on beer and people.
I have to go back to, I think, the mid-90s or so. And in a page in a magazine, I saw an advertisement for a homebrewing kit. About 29 bucks, the most basic kit that you could have. On my way back to work, and in the office that I worked with was Brian, and I showed him this ad. And I said, what do you think? This looked like fun? And he thought, why not? Let's give it a shot.
Realizing that we could make our own beer was kind of a revelation. Once we got started, I mean, we both kind of became brewing maniacs.
So I started brewing beer in my kitchen and just fell in love with it. I heard of these two guys that had worked with the gourmet grocer at the time, and they had just they had a bin set up with the malt and the hops and the yeast on it. And I went in there, and finally one day I met them and just started chatting with them, and we chatted and became friends and started brewing with them a little bit, and that's how I got to know Brad and Brian.
I had grown up like every other young American, primarily drinking fizzy light beer.
I used to joke with people that before homebrewing, that there were two kinds of beer I used to drink, cheap and cheaper.
I was working for the state of Montana, fine jobs and everything, but I wanted something more. And I started thinking about how could I do this, you know, and talking with Brian and Brad a little bit. Brian goes, well, you know, there's this little place that I know that's going to be open down on Park Avenue that, you know, maybe we could rent it as 3 garage bays and we could put our homebrew supply shop in the front and have a little boutique brewery. That kind of got our wheels going, and I put together a business plan in 1998, and here we are 25 years later. Putting together the business plan, we kind of beat the doors down of the bars and the restaurants in town, and we got letters of intent from 15 or 20 of the restaurateurs and bar owners in the city to put our beer on tap. That showed the bank we had people that would buy our stuff.
You know, we could sell beer for off-premise consumption to the general public, meaning you could come buy a growler, but you couldn't buy a single glass to drink on-premise. If it weren't for the taproom bill passing, I can pretty comfortably say I don't think we would be here today. We have some wholesale production, and we have some production that we're able to sell on premise. And those two keys together really mean that we can be this small of a brewery and be successful.
Part of that was very similar to the basement and homebrewing down in the basement. We'd put on some music, chat about beer, and look what's going on with the beer we have now and what can we brew next. That kind of transitioned over to the old brewery next door, where people would come in and we'd say, yeah, here's the latest that we got, and we're thinking about doing this next week, what do you think? And they would say, okay, I'll be back next week and see what we got. And then that just kind of generally grew.
So it went from, you know, a few customers, all of a sudden we're having the place full. We have 75 people in this little place that should probably only have 30 or 40, you know. It was kind of like a little garage bar is what it was, and that's how it felt, and it was so fun in those early days. And so that kind of got us going, and we were, you know, I think at the beginning, I think we were 700 barrels is what we were projecting 10 years out, and we're making 3,500 barrels now.
After being in the old building for 8, 9, 10 years or so, We needed a bigger space, not only on the production side, but on the taproom side, because the taprooms, like any other brewery in the state, in the country, was becoming very, very popular, again being that choice for consumers to have. And this site became available. It was convenient in that the customers over there in the old tap room could look out the door, the window there, and say, yep, there it is. That's going to be the new tap room, the new brewery, and watch it being built. I remember talking with some, and they said, well, it's going to be a brand new building and all that, but I don't know, you might ruin it. How are you going to keep it the same over there? And I remember I told them, that's your job.
What's up, Dave? How you doing? Good.
We'll build the place, we'll build the room where you folks can come over and you'll make it the same.
One of our good customers, what they said about this place was, it's all about the beer and the people. That has been a core theme for us from the beginning.
You come in the door, I want to know your name. I want to know what you drink. And I think that's a big point about Blackfoot, about the people who are coming in to support us.
There's 4 things that if we do well, we will always be successful. And it's if we make great beer, if we take wonderful care of our customers and our staff and our community. If we do those 4 things wonderful, we will always be here.
You know, there's all kinds of beers for all kinds of people that have different tastes. And that's what's great about brewing, is that you can find a beer somewhere in that spectrum that might really work for you and you might really like.
Things that remain the same from the old place, from the beginning, from year one, which is gotta have good ingredients, gotta have good equipment, and gotta have brewers that like what they're doing and make good beer and have that passion to do that. Gotta have staff that knows the beer and enjoys working with customers, and you have to have the consumers also. You can still sit there and chat and have a good conversation. You're making this for someone to enjoy, so make it good.
We just wanted to be that place that brought people in for good beer and happiness, because, you know, who isn't happy when they're having a beer?